Welcome back to The Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I am Curtis the Fourth.
And today we are continuing our conversation on the NBA playoffs. We're talking West basketball now. Arguably, the most talented stars are over here in the West. I think it's become a little bit more even over the last few years, but we'll get into that conversation. Before we dive into the playoffs on the West side of things, please, guys, like, rate, and subscribe to the show and share it with your friends, family members, neighbors, coworkers, whoever you can. Again, just trying to grow this podcast as much as we possibly can here.
Drop us a note in the comments too.
Please, that is the other thing. We do want to continue to make this a community of sports fans having a discussion, not just Curtis 4 and Curtis 5 talking to each other here, but down in the comments below as well. So thoughts, questions, direct attacks, let us know down below. But let's dive into the West. We did have a whole kind of 20-minute conversation on what we think of today's game of basketball in the last episode, so go check that out there. But just specifically about playoff basketball, let's kick things off with the kind of, I'm going to say, the most boring matchup, one I have only watched one half of basketball of, and that is the 1-8 matchup.
Yes.
Utah versus Memphis.
Let's get this out the way.
Yeah, this series sucks. I'm going to just say that right off the bat. I'm sorry. Ja Morant's not ready. Memphis is not ready. And the only reason why they're still alive is because Donovan Mitchell did not play in game one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you don't have much on this one.
I don't. I was making an old school comparison. This back in the day, it's gonna sound crazy when I say it, because people gonna try to compare the teams to now, what they see now. But back in like 90s or the 80s, you came across like a San Antonio Portland
How
series.
dare not?
Right. This is we talking about Tim Duncan is 7. Okay,
Yeah.
people like he's dude's in grade school. Okay, there's no Tim Duncan. I mean, damn. I mean, maybe David Robinson is his 3rd season. You know, like it. Yeah, like a Spurs Portland Trailblazers series. Yeah, that was Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it was like, who the hell is over here in San Antonio? You know, like, because it would be like, if it was David Robinson, yeah, it ended right there. You'd be like, who else is?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What are you, because the games suck. I'm taking Utah to finish this out. I think you are. So that's neither here nor there. My question to you would be about this series is, what do you think of Donovan Mitchell? Do you think that he can become – do you think Donovan Mitchell can be the star on a championship roster? Not saying that Utah is the roster, but can from watching Donovan Mitchell himself, what do you see from him?
Well, he's not quite there yet.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. I think he can have the potential, but got to be the right fit. Got to be. Is it going to be in Utah? Don't know.
I don't think so. I think Donovan Mitchell needs to get out.
Nothing in the history of the NBA will say otherwise. But yeah. I mean, it was a refreshing surprise to see Utah leading the way this year. It was a little bit of a throwback. You know, I haven't seen that since the 90s. Whole different regime, of course, but Utah is not that kind of, you know, they wasn't the household, you know, franchise outside of anything you associated without Stockton and Malone.
Yeah.
Anything apart from that is like, it's Utah, you know, and yeah, we got Mitchell and Donovan Mitchell, and that's great player, but again, what has remained to be seen from day one, since I've been watching basketball, is outside of the Detroit Pistons model, a team. I'm saying this now, and I'm gonna get ripped. I'm saying this from a pure point guard standpoint, and I have to say that and preference that because people are gonna start ripping me. But a pure point guard has never been the leader of a team and has led their team to a championship outside of the Detroit Piston model. And they did it in 2 different decades. The Pistons franchise is the only franchise that's ever done that I've
Okay.
seen, and I've had people throw people. Oh, what about Tony Parker? I had somebody argue me down about Tony Parker back in the day and how he led because one particular championship year he was the leader of this and that. Dude, that was always and forever will be Tim Duncan's team.
Yeah, miss me with that. Sorry.
It was the dumbest damn argument,
What, their first one?
well, in the first one, he wasn't even there.
Oh, fair.
You
Yeah,
know,
true.
like France somewhere. I don't know where he was. You know, he wasn't in the NBA, but he can come around to the second or third one. You know, somewhere in there.
Because it was Manu first, and then Tony was the last piece, right?
I don't remember. I don't know if they might have
Whatever.
came together.
It,
They had the corner mark.
but you're right.
Euroclass.
He never was the leader.
No, or he was the main guy. I'm like, I think we got an argument like, which series are we talking about? Because it wasn't for the duration of the playoffs. It was just, it was the beginning of what you see every day on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
On, you know, the ESPN model. You know, just nonsense type of analytics. Just like, dude,
No, I get what you're talking about. It's yeah.
So I've challenged people like, if you can come up with a team that you know that was led by their point guard that led and went on a championship run, please let me know. Maybe I missed somebody. I just couldn't think of anybody in the modern era that's done that. You know, just hasn't been done. So my point being is, with Donovan Mitchell is, I don't think the formula if he's the guy, I don't think that's a formula for a championship. Is what I'm saying. If he's the number one guy.
Yeah, but also because so the reason why why I asked the question in the first place, because I get that he's a defensive stud, but I'm out on Rudy Gobert. I'm over him. I don't think that he's gonna be a guy that can really be a part of a championship roster.
Right.
It's not to knock his talent. He's a very talented center. But at the end of the day, they got to hand the keys over to somebody else, whether it's Donovan Mitchell or somebody else. That's not. I don't think that tandem in the first place is going to work. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. But I don't think also just giving the keys over to Rudy Gobert is going to be the answer either.
And I mean, and the other component is the team is too small. I mean, it's just, they're small.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you already got Mike Conley, and now you put him back there. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing reminiscences of like a Isaiah Thomas, the Joe Dumars thing, but y'all not Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. But you know, and I'm not knocking Mike Conley or Donovan Mitchell. It's just I'm not exactly sure what this team's identity is really supposed to be.
And that's the thing, because a lot of people will say this team is built around Rudy Gobert, and other people, I guess I would say younger people are more saying that it's suited more for Donovan Mitchell. And I'm like, I don't know. I've watched them time and time again, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked the question to you, because I mean, you watch more basketball. You probably have forgotten more basketball than I will ever know. So. Like, I just don't. I had to ask and see what your thoughts were on Donovan Mitchell himself.
Just on the eye test, no.
Okay.
You know, they I mean, granted, I'm not even saying I'm shocked that they are no one seed. It's just more or less it was refreshing, you know, to like, man, okay, they made a push because they were right there, kind of knocking at the door, but then they kind of just sprung.
No, I mean they've been this kind of era's perennial 4 seed.
Right, and now they push. No second, no third. They went straight to the one. I'm like, okay, statement. Then I'm hearing this Donovan Mitchell's out.
Well, just for the one game, he came back. Well, and that was the other thing. He wasn't even supposed to be out for game one. Apparently, there was some internal feud with Donovan Mitchell's doctors and the team doctors, and then so since the Donovan Mitchell's own doctors, he got the second opinion from, cleared him. He went to the team doctors, and he was warming up. He was getting ready to play, and they didn't say anything. And then he was to him, in his eyes, he thought he was a healthy scratch for game one.
Right.
And they should not, and he feels like they should not be playing a game 5. And I think that this is kind of is what I thought about Giannis last year, and I was wrong about it. But I think this might be the beginning of the end, where Donovan Mitchell is going to potentially walk away from Utah once his contract is up. I don't know if it is this year or next year, but when he has the opportunity, I think he might walk.
It could be possible. I mean, if nothing else, I'm sure he will test the market just to see what his options are. I mean, unfortunately, in the NBA, you have some hot destinations, and you have some ones that's not so much
Not at all.
favorable. Utah's one of them. It's Utah people.
Yeah.
What do you do? That's a hard sell, especially if you're not winning.
And I will say the only thing that I have to say about the Memphis Grizzlies is that they shouldn't even be in these playoffs anyway. This would be much more exciting if it was Steph Curry in Golden State.
Yes, that would have been
preferable.
It would have been. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But I mean, that also speaks to what Golden State really was, though. I mean, they were exciting. They were interesting.
I mean, you don't have the Splash Brothers. It's
right,
just
but
Steph.
They were really on they were on the bubble the whole year, and it really just caught up with them at the end. But there was that little glimmer of hope that they was gonna get through, and they had LA.
They had them.
They had them. I'm just leaving it at that.
All right, well, that's enough of this one. This is the most boring one to talk about in the first place. Anyway.
I mean, but last night's game, I mean, I did, was able to recap that they finally found a way to stop John Morant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one thing. And John Morant, he is a nice young player to watch, and I do like seeing him. But I think that in Memphis, they're going to have to put a lot more around him than just Valanciunas. Like,
right.
Outside of that, I'm sorry. Him and Jackson. But even Jackson is young. So it's like you still don't actually know fully what he is yet. I think he can be a star, but he still has some stuff to work out anyway. So we'll see. But
I like them. I'm saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I like Memphis. I mean, I know we're talking about Utah, but I wanted to give Memphis his due.
No,
they are AFC, but upon further looking at Memphis, I think I'm liking Memphis as one of the best, one of the young and up and coming teams.
They are, but there's, like I said, there's a lot more work to be done with this roster. It's not finished. I'm sorry, Dillon Brooks doesn't do it for me.
He don't do it for anybody, actually. No, and he shouldn't. But that again, there's many things to dissect when you're looking at an AFC team. Because you see the good, and you're gonna see a lot of like, okay, I see why y'all the AFC. Kind of like it makes sense, but it's very easy.
And keep in mind, they weren't the A seed. I think they're the 9th seed because they got in due to the bubble, or the play-in tournament.
That's right. Yeah, and I still like them.
Yeah, I mean, they are a young, up-and-coming team. It is exciting to see them. And like I said, it's always going to be exciting to watch John Morant. The stuff he does is insane. But at the end of the day, this team's just not ready for playoff basketball. They just simply aren't. And
they got three Duke players, so you missed me with what you're talking about.
Whatever. All right. If that wasn't clear, Curtis Ford is a diehard Duke fan.
From the 2015 national championship team, by the way.
All right. Now I want to talk about Portland versus Denver. Let's start with Portland. I understand loyalty, but man, I want to see Dame on a different team.
Say more.
This team, like, yes, the greatest meme of all time is Dame waving goodbye to Russell Westbrook and Paul George, and literally he dismantled that team with a single shot. But at the end of the day, this team is never going to win a title.
Well, really? Why?
They
have the talent.
They do, but I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's chemistry. But year in, year out, they don't get it finished. CJ McConnell, McCollum. That's why I couldn't say. I was going to say McConnell. McCollum. He's not going to come through to finish things out. I mean, there's across the board. I'm just not enamored with what this team can. Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Yusuf Nurkic, like, and then you got your bench is just abysmal. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen with Nazir Little being your backup small forward, Carmelo Anthony, Enes Kanter, Anthony Simons. Like this team does not do it for me. You're not, and they can't get the guys that they need star wise to come in because the stars don't for some reason don't want to play with Dame Lillard. It's either that or they don't want to go to Portland.
It's a possibility. Portland is not necessarily the hottest destination. I told you,
which I don't know why. Portland's a nice city.
Yeah, but I mean, NBA players. I mean, I think the NBA or I think athletes, man, is different breeds, man. You know, in different environments. But
it just, I don't understand it. And Dame is the only saving grace. He's the only reason why they're a perennial playoff team in the first place. I'm sorry, if Dame goes down for a year, CJ McConnell's not going to be able to carry this team. Right. And that's no shot at him. He shouldn't have to. But I don't think he's I think he's a top end number 3. I think he's a middling to bottom number 2. Because clearly he hasn't been able to be the star that they need to either close or just keep them afloat when Dame's off the floor.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other component is they are playing a number 3 seeded Denver, Nuggets, and that's not something to. And I know I brought up I was saying you really don't see them being. And I mean, they do have a talent. I'm not really speaking to their chemistry because, again, in this little microcosm
outside of Yusuf Nurkic, what's the talent you're looking at though?
What are you talking about? Yeah, Damian Lillard.
I'm saying from the top 3, you got Dame Lillard, CJ McConnell, and Yusuf Nurkic.
Man, you always gotta consider Carmelo.
Miss me, sorry.
And that's coming off the bench. No, he's not done. They're not. Now, this is my thing. Okay, I'll
let you go.
No. And how they're using him, they're not using him properly. Now, the way for what his strengths is. Shooting in volume, he'll be better suited on the Brooklyn team. He needs to just he knows that he needs to be given the red light or the green light. I'm sorry, and they're trying to just use him in spot moments and stuff. I'm like, this dude has played too many years for all of a sudden you're gonna limit him, and now you're trying to get the most out of him and maximize it in a very small package. I'm like, that is not the kind of player he is.
But now, you can't. I don't think that works with Dame Lillard and CJ McConnell being on the floor, and Robert Covington.
If he was just a spot up shooter in the corner or something like that, or he started to become just that's my role now, and then every now and again put the ball on the floor, I get it. I'm just saying, I think it's more of a chemistry thing, but I don't think you can count him out. Is all I was getting at.
Well, he hasn't shown up the last 2 seasons in the playoffs, so that's where I'm at. It's just if you're not,
it's safe to say he's never showed up in the playoffs. But
fair, very fair.
Unfortunately, because he chose to not want to come to Chicago and just stay.
I'm still seething about that
in New York and take a payday. But I hope you enjoyed all that, though.
Hey, he definitely enjoyed that $100 million
because he was all about winning. Remember?
Yeah, that's what he said. 100% about winning.
Absolute liar.
And I know I'm saying that. Robert Covington is he has his moments.
That was the end of my list, though.
Exactly. Like you don't win basketball games with 4 dudes.
What? You don't win basketball with 4 dudes?
I don't think that they're winning the championship this year. But I've said this about
they're
Brooklyn.
Winning basketball.
No, sorry. I don't think you're winning championships with 4 dudes, and that's what I'm saying about Portland. And I don't. That's not what I'm saying about Brooklyn. I don't think Brooklyn's going to win the title this year. I don't think they're going to come out of the East this year.
Could be LA and win it with 2. Sure, just not 4.
Fair.
You can have 3. You can have 5, but you cannot have 4.
No, it's not 4. But I would like to see Dame. Hey, Dame, go over to LA. Make another super
I see
team.
where you're going. You're just trying to get Damian Lillard out of Portland.
No, I just don't. I mean, we've seen him there for so long, and
I mean,
he's had the amazing buzzer beater shots. He's got 6 of them.
You're absolutely right, and somebody has to replace CP3 anyway. So I get it, man. Go ahead, go. I'm just setting it up for you. Go.
I
see
don't.
where you're going with this.
I'm done with seeing Dame
Boston
get
needs a
knocked out in the first,
a
second round.
playmaker. So we just talked about that
Yeah,
in
go
our
to
last
Boston.
segment. I mean, hell, Kemba Walker's done. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I get you. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, he would fit on any team, any point guard role. I mean, I'll take him in Brooklyn. He's better than Kyrie.
I agree with that. Please comment on this. Yes, we said it. Damian Lillard is better than Kyrie in as far as a playmaking point guard.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%. I don't think that's a controversial statement. It shouldn't be anyway.
No, it shouldn't.
But I don't think that Portland has been able to put the team that Damian needs to win a championship. And so I'm ready to see him go elsewhere and do that. I want to see Damian Lillard in the conference finals. I want to see Damian Lillard in the finals. I want to see him on the biggest of biggest stages and winning those games because I want to see Dame time in the finals. I want to see him hitting those buzzer beater threes.
Well, this is a good way of you not buying into, the top heavy rosters or the super team.
I don't think he has to do that. I mean,
no. They went on. He went on a point to make sure that they didn't do that, but we're seeing what this looks like, in this era right now. And I'm like, unfortunately, you don't have to have a super team, but you're gonna have to bring somebody else over there.
I know I brought it up, and I don't think he needs to go to LA to win. I don't think he needs to go to Brooklyn to win. I don't think he doesn't. I would love. Oh God, if he goes to Phoenix,
we said Phoenix and Boston, so I mean, we put him in. I wouldn't want him to go there either.
That's not a situation where you're building a team overnight. That's going to a competitive young roster that you are that final. You are the Jimmy Butler, that last piece to get you over get you over the hump. And that would be something that I'd love to see. And whether he stays in the East or stays in the West or goes to the East, I don't care. I just don't want to see him on this Portland roster anymore.
Do you have any idea how many years he got left on his contract?
I have no idea. I haven't checked it.
Yeah, we have not pulled any contractual information up whatsoever.
But also, the contracts don't even matter in the NBA. They rip them up every other day anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that is my thoughts. But I mean, that's what I wanted to talk about with Portland. It's just, and that's specific. I don't really have any other specific basketball things to talk about Portland. They're a good team. I mean, they're always competitive. I mean, team won 42 games this season. Like that. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Series tied, so I mean, it can go either way.
Is it? Or is it 2-1? 2-2. I didn't watch the last game, so I don't know. Yeah, it is 2-2. Yeah.
Portland won 115-95 in game 4.
Gotcha.
My question is this even? I think this is going 7. Personally, I don't think either team is going to win the next 2 games. That's what I'm saying.
I think if Denver wins tonight, they can close it out in Game 6. But if Portland wins tonight, then I would agree it's going to 7.
Well, Portland wins on the road and then lose at home and then lose again on the road. That would be so fitting.
It would. But that's what this team is. It's just inconsistent.
Well, then we got the Denver side.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to hear what you think about Denver.
Not much, because I don't focus on this team. I don't focus on this team much, but I think
Nobody focuses on Denver.
But that's what I'm saying. I think this was this has always been me in the NBA in my association. I never follow Denver.
Yeah.
It's just not one of these teams I follow, man. And it's not too tough, but obviously they stumbled across Jokic, and I'm like, I don't know who this dude. I mean, you already know I've been so removed from the NBA, and I'm over here tripping. I'm like, okay, there's some dude named Luka, and now there's a Jokic, and there's a Nurkic, and I'm like, who is these these Euro players, and where they all? They all in the West, And I'm like, And some of these obscure teams like Denver and Portland, teams I don't watch whatsoever, and then they're playing in the playoff series. I'm like, okay, this is so. But after looking at, watched a couple games that he played in, I'm like, okay, I can see to a degree. I mean, granted, we still I have to keep stuff in proper context. Not the greatest defensive era of the NBA.
No, it's not.
I'm like, he's not like, oh my God, this dude, he would just kill in any, you put him in any era and he would just kill it. No, he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. And I'm saying that hearing Stephen A. and Max Kellerman's voice right now.
Yeah.
Because they are, oh my God, dude. I'm like, how much do they pay y'all to keep saying that? But with that being said, um, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna call Denver a pretender. They just no, they're not. They're
not a
not
pretender.
they're not pretenders. No. It's just they're not that team. They just not that team. I'm sorry. They I want to say if I'm just trying to use comparisons to try some relevance for people to try to not necessarily compare, but just to kind of give some kind of context.
Connection.
Right, a connection. The team I'm using, is probably a bad example, but it's like a team that's good, but it was kind of there, but didn't never really go over the hump. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers, the '90s and the '80s Cavaliers. They were a very good team, but unfortunately, because there was a Michael Jordan, we never got to see them come into fruition.
Okay.
I mean, they were like right there knocking on that door, but Denver is not necessarily right there. They're like a step behind them. So I was trying to trying to scale it back, and I don't have a good example of that.
Especially taking into consideration the fact that AD is injured right now. Let's just say. Well, let me ask you this first: who do you have finishing out the series and taking it
between Portland and Denver?
Yeah.
I got Denver in 7.
Denver in 7. Okay.
Yeah.
I got Denver in either 6 or 7. So, with that being said, who they would take on next, I'm hoping that it's Phoenix, but more than likely, just knowing what the NBA is now,
let's just say it's the LA. Okay,
it's going to be the Lakers.
Right. Okay, so we got the 3-7 matchup here.
Yeah. So, if they take on the Lakers in the next round, where do you like? You don't see Denver having any shot?
If there's no AD, absolutely. I think
let's just say AD is 50 to 75%.
Knowing the league that you just said and so on and so forth, I'll be shocked if Denver loses in 6. Shocked that they even get 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it backwards.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if you're saying that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I was being very vague.
Gotcha. So,
but I said if you know the NBA, you should know where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, I that's why I was confused. No, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
They got to protect their investment. Yeah, I said that, people. They got to protect their investment. What do you mean? Well, ask me in the comments.
Yeah.
I'll be free to tell you my thoughts about that.
I am just torn. I don't know.
I think they have everything that is necessary to beat them. Do they have a better team overall than LA? Yes. Absolutely. Are they top heavy like them? No. They have Jokic. They have versus their big 2.
Well, I think it's Jokic. I think a lot of people are down on, or not down on, or kind of underrating Michael Porter Jr. I think. I like him a lot. But he's still young. That's the issue.
True.
And plus, they don't have.
And I don't know where his headspace is gonna be. And then your only other backup to him is Austin Rivers. And I'm like, I'm not sold on Austin. I'm sorry. I know he's Duke, former Duke alum, Mr. One and Done himself. The most ridiculous one and done.
But so because they don't have Jamal Murray is the issue. If they had Murray right now,
it might be the number 1 seed.
Honestly,
that's our issue here.
He's out for the season, right? He's done.
I think he's out.
Yeah, ACL tear.
He's done.
Which is so disappointing because if he was there, I think this is a completely different conversation. I like Jamal Murray. I think he's one of those dudes that's got that dog in him.
I've
But
I
also,
have
I
not
guess,
been able to make a consensus.
yeah, because you're not taking in bubble talk.
No, that that has no bearing on me. I'm sorry. You can miss me with all of last year at the Walt Disney Mickey Mouse championship ring and all that. LA can go on, get on out of here. They still got 16 titles to me. It's a vacated title.
Gotcha.
Well, oh, how unfair. I don't care who won, people. Vacated. Did not matter who won the title. I've said it back then. I'm saying it now. I'm going to keep on saying it. I'm never going to acknowledge that title. They vacate titles in the NCAA. I can
This isn't the
vacate this one.
NCAA.
I
Don't even
understand.
compare.
My point being is it exists. Vacation, vacating titles do exist. That's all I was getting at.
Okay.
It's not something I just made up on the fly. We did witness this. Did you know that the Fab Five championships never happened? Anything that they did, not that they won a championship, but all that stuff they did for 2 years, it didn't happen.
Didn't happen at all.
No, I have fond memories
Fab
of it.
Five. What is that?
Exactly. Yeah, I do remember something. It's almost like deja vu, but not.
All right. I think there's not much more to say about that series. I'm not down on both. It's just there's a damper on the injuries with one side with Denver, and then Portland just can't get over that hump with the roster that they have. So I feel like either team and we'll get into it with the next one, LA versus Phoenix, but whoever wins that series, I think has a clear advantage in the next round with whoever comes out of this Denver Portland series.
Absolutely. And I know this is not a clear cut 2-7 seed. I mean, if anything, this is really a quasi 4-5 matchup. It's just very evenly matched. Got the LeBron factor. I'm moving on. AD, you got the big, the big two, and then do like the Dennis Schroeder, Schroeder. Am I saying? I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
I say Dennis Schroeder.
Schroeder. I hear it several different ways.
It's said differently every single time they come up the court and he has the ball.
Right. Definitely. I mean, from where I've seen value, from what I've assessed, Schroeder's the real deal over there.
Oh yeah.
Even
I know you're out on KCP.
Oh my God,
dude. You hated watching him.
He's horrible. I'm sorry, I just don't like it. He's horrible.
Yeah,
and I mean, I like veteran Marc Gasol for what they use him for. He's a solid veteran.
Bench just smacks threes.
Right. Andre Drummond, not really too sure because it's one of those you just don't know which Drummond showing up tonight.
Yeah,
type of thing.
He's very inconsistent.
Exactly, and I get it. He's part of a buyout. I think he'll be more relevant next year if they really trying to utilize him as a part of the offense. Just in this, we're talking about 2021 playoffs. Big question mark. Good person to have on your team. Don't get me wrong, but you just don't know which one is going to show up. Now, this Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell, the jury's still out on with me. I haven't seen nothing from these guys. I hear all Kuzma. Of this stuff about these guys.
I'm reserving the right to make a decision on Harrell for maybe the next round, depending on how things play out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm out on Kuzma. Kuzma's, I think, the Pelicans won that trade.
Yeah,
they ended up grabbing. I think Lonzo has become a defensive stud, and he's still developing his offensive game, and he's getting better and better every year. And they were dead set on holding on to Kyle Kuzma because he was that rookie star, and he played so much better in the first year than Lonzo did. So, and now they're just kind of stuck and saddled with him because Kuzma's Kuzma. Like he's never kind of gotten over that offensive hump, and he's not doing what the Lakers need to. They need that third star, right. And they were hoping that it was Kuzma, but it's not, and it's unfortunately it's Schroeder. But Schroeder, he's not like is he talented enough to be the number 3? We don't know that yet because he's still super young.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still developing his game. If he can be a prototypical point guard, which is hard to do when you're playing on a team that has LeBron James on the roster,
Right.
it's almost impossible to do. But if he can develop it somehow, that this team would be very scary. But we just don't know because specifically that LeBron James is on the roster, and as long as he's there, he's gonna do this quote unquote point forward type thing where he's bringing the ball up and running the offense. But
right,
who are you passing to?
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, and it's been literally a 3-man team right now with the big two and Schroeder. And flashes of Drummond, flashes of Gasol, and that's it. There's been no one else. Somebody want to say Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna bring
there.
Caruso in there.
Okay,
he's that little engine that could off the bench. He brings that extra little spark, and
it's only in scoring. He does nothing else. It's
yeah.
in one area.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of like, you really want to say that? It's just.
But I'm agreeing with you. I'm out on KCP and Kuzma. Both of them.
Yeah.
They both can go.
Yeah, I think.
And Horton Tucker. I'm done with all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think they're kicking themselves about the whole Rondo thing. Not that Rondo's playing 100,000%,
but you don't need him to.
But that's my point. But when you start switching them and moving them on and all, that just changes the whole dynamic anyway. But and all that to say, he ends up back in LA when it's all said and done. I'm like, you seem so happy when you was going to Atlanta. Now you're in LA. It's just all in.
Well, I think he wanted to go get another big contract, and Atlanta was the only one that was going to be able to do that, and that was cool. And then they traded him over there to where he wanted to go to win now, and I think it worked out swimmingly for Rondo. Like he made out with the bag and the team.
Yeah, he did, and he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah,
which jumping ahead.
Yeah,
okay. It was just more his ties back with the Lakers last year, but yeah, it's. I don't know. This Laker team is very interesting to me because it's defying all the odds. It's defying all analytics.
That's why I want Phoenix to win this series so
NBA
bad.
NBA doing what the good old NBA does, and just making the impossible possible here.
Yeah. And it's not that I'm not a LeBron hater. I don't think I think I've always given him his flowers for what he's been able to do, and I know I think it really I think it you can really tell that I'm not a LeBron hater by talking about last year, because like you said, you just count out that championship.
Doesn't count.
I said
again, I don't care who won.
And
it
does
I know not
you
count.
But what I say is that you don't count the championship regardless of team, and that's fine. And I'm not going to knock anybody for doing that, but I'm also not going to stand for people giving LeBron crap for winning the championship in the first place. Like, get it? You don't recognize the playoffs itself that happened last year, whatever. But if you're gonna, you would give him way more crap for not winning a championship last year than
he's getting crap no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, well, you can't knock him for going out there and winning the championship. He went and did what he could with the situation.
No, I understand, but I wasn't.
And then I'm not saying that's not you. I'm talking about other people.
Right, I wasn't a fan of the bubble at all.
Exactly.
So.
But like other people come out there and be like, it was the bubble championship. There's it took him getting the most cupcake competition, and I'm like, dude, if he didn't win it, you'd be saying the opposite argument, that he couldn't win the cupcake championship. So let him, he had to do what he could.
Which is why I don't bring these conversations up, because people trying to figure out where I fall in that. I'm like, I just told you where I fell.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with that. I was done before the damn thing was even crowned.
Exactly.
It didn't matter.
I mean, we were watching it together. Yeah. You hated the playoffs
horrible,
in general.
Man. What the hell are we watching here, man? It's ridiculous. Glorified pickup game, man. No, thank you. This is the finals.
what I was saying, what I was getting at
It's the
was,
final
is that
game.
what it comes down to is I'm not interested in rewatching LA make that run again. I want to see the newer generation come up. I'm absolutely excited with Luka in the West. I love that Phoenix team. The Phoenix team is so fun to watch with how young that roster is. I know it's led by CP3, who's the oldest point guard in the league.
Oldest point guard on the planet. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But
yes, absolutely.
At the end of the day,
either him or George Hill, one of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot about George Hill. Jesus Christ. I don't think I said it yesterday. I thought he retired.
I think he did. Probably
came right back.
Now. Still playing, retired. I'm sorry. It's late.
back to
NBA. Y'all have scorned me for so many years, and now I'm like Kwame. I got to say y'all. 20 years of silence. We're gonna get these likes.
I forgot what I was going with that. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Some nonsense about LeBron.
I don't even remember. No, it was the new age of basketball. I want to see these younger rosters come up and play. I'd much rather see that than watch LeBron make another run. I'm just kind of over. I've watched three of these games in this series. It's boring to me. The Lakers side of it is boring to me. I don't like the style of play. It's slow. It's just
ISO ball. And that's all it is.
And outside of AD and LeBron, it's sloppy.
That's what I'm saying. It's ISO ball with them. Then you got the other guys just kind of scrambling around, looking for an open shot.
Yeah.
You know,
and KCP just chucking up threes that yes, they're open, but you can't hit those.
Who gave this man the green light? Like
LeBron did. It's LeBron's team. What do you mean?
Who? You're gonna make me the villain tonight, cause man, who in the hell made LeBron the go-to, the end-all, be-all guy? Really? I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, where's your resume in the aspect of, like, you could just tell? I mean, what you say is just gold. Like, don't give me he's one. That ain't got a damn thing with what's coming out of his mouth, though. That's all I'm saying. It's like, I don't even look at him as a leader per se. I mean, he can lead. He leads teams with his game, but I mean, is he? I don't see him as he's the motivator. He's this. And before y'all get Michael Jordan, I didn't say a damn thing about Michael Jordan. Okay, and let me be very clear for you all, people. Michael Jordan was not my favorite player. Scottie Pippen was.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is not human. He's not a human being.
Wait, is Scottie Pippen your favorite player of all time? I thought it was Grant Hill.
Scottie Pippen and Grant Hill.
Okay.
It's like 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
They like the. It was just
the same dude. They're literally the same dude. Just one had injuries.
Right. And one scored a little bit more than the other, which was Grant Hill, because Scottie was more of a facilitator. Just because
he had Michael on the team. What do you mean?
Grant Hill was just 2.0. He just came out.
I mean,
like
I think it going back to that, just Michael retired and they were still in the playoffs. They were still the 2 seed?
They were technically the 3 seed.
3 seed. Okay. Still, that's insane. You lose Michael freaking Jordan and you're the 3 seed.
They were 57-25 in 1993 with him.
Yeah.
And beating Phoenix in the title, and then without him, they were 55-27. 2 games less.
Yeah.
I mean, we lose Michael, we add Kukoc and Pete Myers, and hey, but the bottom line is the nucleus was still there. That's just it was just a testament. The team was that team was. It wasn't a one-man team, obviously, and Scottie Pippen showed his ass for his career year. It was a 1 year small sample size, but it's the only thing we had to go off of.
No, and this is my issue with this Lakers team. It's 2 guys, and then Dennis Schroeder is great, and I like him. I like watching Dennis Schroeder, but at the end of it, I just said his name differently twice in the same sentence. I told you,
because that's how everybody says Schroeder. I mean, however you want to say it.
But at the end of the day, it's just because he's a young guy, and I like to see. I like watching him develop. Mm-hmm. But then outside of that, I don't like watching Kuzma. He's honestly trash to me. Caruso, he's good in spurts, and he only plays 5 minutes at a time anyway. Markeith Morris, sorry, I don't like watching you. You suck. Montrezl Harrell, I don't know what you are in this roster. I think it's a chemistry issue with Montrezl Harrell because he was so good with the Clippers last year, and then he comes over to the Lakers. Where did you have shrunk so much? Ben McLemore, Taylor Horton Tucker, Marcus Gasol. Like we said, I like him coming off the bench. What his role is, hitting threes, kind of being a presence down low a little bit, but not really.
What about Wesley Matthews?
Ugh. It's just this team. It's sloppy outside of the top three.
Oh, and KCP is day to day.
Yeah, he is now. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't watch. I watched part of Game 4, and I don't see how he got injured. But yeah, he's now day to day.
We'll see. Say he's questionable. So if he plays, he's playing hurt anyway.
Yeah,
like he already was playing hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not enamored with this team, and I don't want to see them move on. Phoenix though, oh, that's a team I love this team.
All right.
This team is fun to watch.
You got it.
It's D-Book. DeAndre Ayton absolutely owned AD in the first game. And he's been solid since.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to give up on Cameron Payne, but he came out in game 2 and he earned his stripes. Cam Johnson, he's a young power forward center that he plays very well. I really like watching him. Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, obviously he was injured for a little bit, but still he has been absolutely the engine of this team. Dario Saric is fun to watch. Torrey Craig is fun to watch. Even Javon Carter is fun to watch. Like, I mean, this down this entire team. Frank Kaminsky's on this team. Like, it's just fun across the board to watch this team play. And I would like to see Devin Booker be a little bit more assertive and become that star. I need him to have that kind of Dwayne Wade, LeBron wake up call. Like, hey, it's got to be you type situation. But outside of that, man, this team is just, it's fast. These guys, they just, everybody on this team has some sort of a dog in them. Like they are getting scrappy. I want DeAndre Ayton to become more of a presence down the paint, but again, kid's 24? Like, he's still super young. He still needs to kind of figure. And this is all of their. It's out of Chris Paul. Is all of theirs like first playoff appearance. Mikal Bridges maybe as well. He was been and Jay Crowder, but most of this team is super young, and this is their first time being on the big stage like this.
Yeah.
So, like, I get why they're being a little bit timid, and I get why this series is 2-2. But I also am like, man, if Chris Paul wasn't injured, this might be a 3-1 Phoenix series right now. Exactly. So this series itself has been fun to watch from the Phoenix side anyway. And this team over this entire season has been fun to watch. I just really like how this team plays. They go out and they play hard from tip off all the way through.
Yeah, and they plan as a team, so it's a very balanced attack that they're utilizing.
And it's not sloppy. That's the other thing. It's not this reckless abandon. I'm just gonna throw up a shot because I can type basketball. They go out there and they play. They set up their moves. They're always moving. Jay Crowder is being that since DeAndre Ayton isn't that physical presence. Jay Crowder is being that physical presence down low. And DeAndre Ayton is getting all those rebounds that he can.
Right.
Like, it's nice to watch. I like this team so much, and I'm really hoping that they're able to win this series.
Yeah. So and Phoenix was able to tie that back up, and now they all knotted up
and they're going back to Phoenix.
Going back to Phoenix, so this is going 7. So
I hope not. I hope it goes 6.
I want to say that, but I can't believe that the powers that be would just allow things to just play the way that they play out without just a little bit of influence, But hey, who am I? I walked away for a few years. I can come back and maybe it's changed because it's a new league.
No, it hasn't.
It's a new league.
I told you the refs own this game.
As I said, new league, but some things just remain the same, unfortunately.
Very unfortunate. That's one of the things that I don't, and I think I talked about in the last episode, but I am really over the refs having so much control over the game.
Exactly.
I know they've implemented the coaches challenge, and even hey, Doc won a coaches challenge last night. We watched that game. Cool, but still, like I'm just tired of watching these refs have so much of an ego and want to have. They want to be the stars of the game. I'm like, that's not what your role is. Do your thing. Just be a ref, but call the game.
Right.
Stop the frivolous teeing up of players just for asking questions. I get it. There are some dudes that yes, they whine and they complain and it gets to be too much, but we're just throwing out tees for anything.
Yeah, that's that. It's like I said, it's an old issue that has been going on in the NBA. It's a very old and tired narrative for me, and I'm just like I don't buy into it too much. It's kind of like when I see it, I just kind of disengage. I walk away. It's like, man, I kind of already know where it's going. The only surprise that'll happen is I come back and see a different result.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm out. It's like I don't even want to see where this is going because then I'm gonna come back to some crazy headline. Oh my God, you've never seen anything like it. dot dot dot. Like yeah, I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. Anything like it, and like tonight's game, nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, like in the league where everything seems okay. This seems like it should be a competitive game tonight. Now, if for some reason, and I'm saying I don't wish this to happen at all, Phoenix just comes out and super flat for some strange reason, would not surprise me. I've seen it really so many times.
But it's at home though, and that Phoenix crowd was actually rocking.
I know
last time.
And with all that being said,
still might come out flat.
I understand. I understand they might. I'm just saying it would not surprise me had all for some strange reason they just don't have it together tonight. Doesn't make any sense. AD is out.
Is AD out? It still says day to day. Is he playing tonight or what's the deal?
He's questionable. I mean, he's doubtful.
Doubtful?
Yeah.
Thank God. Please.
Doubtful is more than likely, and it's a growing pool. He needs time. He needs to.
That's one that literally needs rest.
Right.
Like that's not one of those things that you can play through.
I can't see him playing tonight. He might play in Game 6, but
yeah,
tonight I just don't see it. And being that it's 2-2, I think they're willing to let LeBron and his three henchmen take over.
Oh no, he's out for tonight's game. It's official.
Okay.
Lakers without AD for Game 5 due to groin injury. No, I didn't get the full injury report. It's just that
I want him to play.
I do too. You keep missing those shots, please.
Exactly. I don't need some dude, some hot hand.
I don't need them to
playing.
I don't need them passing more balls to Marcus All. No.
That's what I'm saying. All of a sudden you get, Caruso. He get to 35 minutes now.
No, Caruso's he is a dunking machine.
Yeah, but he playing like 20 something minutes. But you get like 30, 40 minutes all of a sudden. All of a sudden the dude put up astronomical all-star numbers, and I'm just saying, they don't need all that. They don't need somebody just that's gonna hold serve until AD gets back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just kind of wrapping up this series as a whole. Man, Phoenix, like I said, is just such a fun team to watch, and I honestly can't say anything other than that. That's the rest of this playoffs will be much more interesting to me if it's both the LA teams out. It'll be much more interesting with Phoenix and Dallas moving forward than it will be with either one of these LA teams moving forward.
Man, could you imagine Phoenix, Dallas, and Portland winning? What, Utah?
I guess I would want Portland to win, especially without Jamal Murray. But man, I was just saying, just the possibilities of yeah, true. No, it's just it's across the board. It's specifically with these LA teams. It's just the games will be much more interesting. The play. And this is what I said in the last episode. It's kind of like boxing. Styles makes fights, and the way that Phoenix plays, the way that Dallas plays, the way that Denver or even Portland, either one of them plays, is much more interesting than the alternative.
Right.
I'm that's what I want to see. I for moving forward, that's kind of what I'm focused on is in the West anyway, is seeing Phoenix and Dallas how they adjust moving forward and how they can if just honestly if just one of them can make it out of the first round
Right.
will be much more interesting kind of moving forward. So
I agree. So, but I mean, at least we got one specific exciting series that still remains out there, and Phoenix has made. I mean, kind of like what Phoenix is doing for me in the West, what Atlanta's doing for me in the East. It's just kind of some old school, just nose to the grindstone and just out there just hustling, just pure, just grinded out basketball. And man, it's being led by these point guards, and that's the other thing, man. That's a throwback because everything has been about the stretch this and the two-way play of that, and it's just these non-positionless players that just playing all kinds of positions and different forms and formats, and like what's going on? I'm confused. Like I need a manual. So it's just
yeah.
one of them type of things. But this series has been interesting. Phoenix got back in it after taking a foot off the gas and after game one for whatever reason.
Well, it wasn't really taking the foot off the gas. It was just they didn't know how to play without Chris Paul. I know Chris Paul was on the court, but Chris Paul wasn't Chris Paul.
True.
So that's where it was for me. Those
Maybe
two
I
games.
should say Devin Booker took his foot off the gas.
That's it. Yeah. That's what I was saying in game 2. It's Devin Booker, and that's what I want to see out of him. I need him to assert himself more. Chris Paul needs to go to him like Dwayne Wade did to LeBron and say, "Hey, it's got to be you," because outside of that, we're there. This team is nothing without Devin Booker.
Yeah, what I would like to see out of Devin Booker is funny you mentioned Dwayne Wade is what we seen in Dwayne Wade back in 2004 in the finals against Dallas that year. That when his coming out party.
Yeah,
man, I'm like, dude, I don't know who this dude is, but
he needs to take over.
Exactly,
it needs to be him, and it's not even about that. It just he needs to not be as passive. Even if you are going to be more of a playmaker than you are going to be a scorer,
right?
You got to be assertive with it. So that's where I'm at.
Agreed.
That's what I want to. That's what I want to see out of Devin Booker moving forward. DeAndre Ayton, just keep doing your thing. Play that game down in the paint. Get a little bit more aggressive down there. Make yourself a physical presence down there. You're still skinny though. You're still young. Like
I gotta watch him a little closer. I don't have a whole lot of a whole lot on him.
There's not much on him. He's kind of this dude that he's just young. He just needs to come into his own. He's got the talent. He could put on a few more pounds to make it a little bit more difficult for those guys down there, especially AD. But with AD not being down there, he's definitely got to be that guy now.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess one other thing I want to say, without AD being in this game, how do you attack LeBron? Do you throw both Ayton and Jay Crowder at him, and then just let Schroeder and whoever else do their thing, or what's your philosophy on that?
I think they need to do a combination of things, but I would never play him straight up. I would make him beat it. If the AD is out, you know what? You're gonna have to beat somebody else. Gonna have to beat me because I'm doing everything I can to slow this man down as much as possible. But at the same time, you gotta look at what is the tone with the refs? Like how are they setting the tone? Because if they're gonna call every little touch foul, you stare at them too long, and you can't play them anyway. The next thing is we gotta stop Schroeder, and we gotta stop Marc Gasol. Or Andre Drummond, because that's gonna be the guy they're gonna be looking for to step up tonight, which is gonna be Drummond.
Oh, I forgot about Drummond. Yeah, you're right.
So, which is
So what would you rather do? Would you rather put Ayton on LeBron, or would you rather put Crowder on LeBron, and whoever is the other one goes to guard?
I probably would start with Crowder, being that Ayton is more the hotter. I think he's more the hotter hand.
Okay.
So just to
offensively,
just
you want to
buy
preserve
some
him.
Time, just to buy yourself a little time, just in case somebody gets in foul trouble quickly. You just don't need to kill your offense so fast.
Gotcha.
Because CP3 should be okay-ish.
I'm hoping he gets better and better every game. that goes by.
Just assuming Booker's gonna have a good game because I mean,
It's
granted,
Booker.
I'm saying anybody can have an off night. I'm not saying he's going to
Yeah.
have one, but this would be the most
Yeah, this would be
inconvenient
very
time to
inconvenient to
have it.
have an off night tonight.
But I'm factoring everything, like, because somebody, these guys gonna have to they gotta bring it,
Yeah.
and just keep this pressure on them, make it 3-2, force, force, LA back to LA, you know, with all the pressure on them. They can sit there and be like, well, there's no pressure on us. All the pressure's on all the pressure on you all. You're about to get eliminated,
Speaking
And
of eliminations, Boston is with 1 minute left about to be out of the playoffs.
oh, I did not see that coming.
Oh no.
All right.
No, so I think I agree with you. That's a good kind of, especially with the way that refs call LeBron, put Crowder on him, save your offense, and and live to see another day. But again, like you said, Devin Booker cannot afford to have the Phoenix cannot afford to have Devin Booker have an off night.
No, and I mean they seriously got to.
You got to take advantage. You got to take advantage of AD not being in the lineup tonight.
Right.
All right. Well, that leaves one more and quite possibly the most interesting kind of matchup that's going on right now, and that would be Dallas versus the other LA team. I say that jokingly. Clippers fans, do not come kill me. The Clippers. I mean, let's just start.
This is a very weird series. Home team has not won any games.
Not yet.
0-4. With that, it's looking like Dallas should win next game 5, being that they're on the road.
If Luke is healthy enough, and that's what's.
I don't think that mattered. It did. True. It didn't matter. True. It would matter to who was at home.
Yeah,
the home
I get what
team
you're saying.
Lost. But yeah, of course it depends on Luka. So that's and that's where this might just be the end of the series. Actually, unfortunately,
well, he's day to day. He is probable to play tonight. Still not
to what degree?
Or not tonight. Tomorrow, sorry. But because I don't think his neck injury has. I don't think it's possible to get worse per se. I think it's I think it might be one of those things where rest will only help him feel better. But hey, you've had 2 nights off,
right?
So you're gonna have to show up tomorrow. So I mean, I'm just in a place where, like, man, and the thing is, it's the fact that not the fact that Luke is injured. It's the fact that when Luka goes out, Kristaps doesn't step up.
Okay.
And that I'm on the verge of saying Kristaps is. I might be out on Kristaps now. Like, if Porzingis can't take over and be that number 2 guy when Luka's out, why are you on this roster? Because you weren't healthy last year, and that was the whole reason why they weren't able to get this series last year. And now Luka's fighting through an injury to play and still playing very well. He's still playing great basketball.
Okay.
So where are we at with Kristaps in this? Like, it's just I don't know if he. I'm just. I really need to see him play better basketball. You can't be as passive. You need to score, and you need to be a defensive presence.
Right.
I know he's not really a defensive player, but hell, I mean, if Luka's not 100%, you got to step up.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that Tim Hardaway fell off in the last game.
Yeah, which is granted, he's a role player.
I was gonna say he doesn't show up night in and night out anyway, but yeah, when they probably needed him most. I don't know. They're gonna have to find scoring from somewhere, and
it's the fact JJ Redick is still out. I don't know what's going on. He's got that heel injury. He was ruled out for game 1, and then they said he was unlikely to play this series, but he's kind of just like sitting, like biding time to get into this series. Because I mean, if he comes in and he's hitting shots,
he's on the playoff roster.
He's on the roster. He's out right now because of his heel, and they haven't. He's not been cleared to play yet. So he's trying very hard with his rehab to get back on the court.
Okay.
He's close. They don't like it's like he's a weird day-to-day out guy. Like they're literally just waiting for the doctors to say, okay, he won't get injured. He won't injure this more if he plays. Because I think no matter what, when he gets back on the court, he's gonna have to play with some pain.
Well, it's gonna be a tall order for them in Game 5 because now they got to go to LA, back to LA.
Yeah, but the Clippers don't have fans in LA, so.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's coming down to a best 2 out of 3 series, and they do not have the home court advantage now. So
I'm just hoping if Luka can just freaking lift his head, because he couldn't in Game 4. He could not lift his head in Game 4, and if he can do that for Game 5, because I mean it was still a close game in Game 4. Like it wasn't like they got blown out. It wasn't like it did in the second half, but that was literally Luka was sitting.
Right.
So if he can stay in and he can just bide time, like there's nothing that like for all we say about how great I'm talking about the NBA world, not us two sitting here.
Final now, 123-109.
Yep. Brooklyn is on through into the second round now. They are the second team to make it to the second round. But all we say about Kawhi Leonard being one of the best players in the NBA right now, yeah, he's not played any different in one of these last 2 games. The entire Clippers roster has not played any different in one of these last 2 games. It's literally been all on Dallas. It's the way Dallas plays and the way Dallas comes out, whether they're injured or not, is what gets the Clippers over the hump. Like they have no control over this series. And that's why this team is not going to win a championship to me. They're not making it out of the West by any means if that's the case. If you yourself can't control your own fate, what type of roster is that?
Yeah, that's true. But they on a collision whoever comes out of it is on a collision course with Utah. So I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I guess maybe can't put the cart before the horse, and you need to focus on these next 3 games. But
yeah, I think this is going to be a 7-game series through and through. I just don't know who's going to win it.
I don't know. I mean, I gotta see what the severity of Luka's injury is first.
That's really all. Like I said, it all hinges on Luka. This series is all about Luka.
Exactly, because up until for what little I have watched and have paid attention to specifically to this series in general, is that I know if I don't know nothing else, I know that the Clippers can't stop Luka.
No, they cannot.
He has
been talking the most talk, and he's backing it up.
Yeah.
And outside of Game 4, he has done everything that he has promised, and he has made it hell for the Clippers.
And Kawhi is just still as quiet as he wants to be, and I'm like, all right, you can go ahead and be the quiet storm all you want, but end of the day, bro, not a good look. Like, when are y'all gonna start rising to the occasion, and become this team, this juggernaut you so-called built yourself to be? I mean, you didn't go to the Clippers and make the Clippers relevant. They were relevant before you got there.
Yeah.
It was relevant when CP3 was over there and Blake Griffin. It was relevant when it was Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. I mean, come on, man. Like, are you serious? And Elton Brand and
yeah.
I mean, hell, I go back into the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, 90s. Hell, when Ron Harper used to be there, and it was a time Dominique Wilkins played over there for a year because he got traded for the Danny Manning trade, and Danny Manning played over there. I mean, the Clippers have had these little one-hit wonder type teams here and there, so it's not like he the way they spin a narrative now, it's like they brought them back out of obscurity. I'm like, no, the Clippers have been knocking on the door for the last decade.
Yeah, but I don't think. I don't think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George puts them over the top. I'm not a believer. And it's not to say that it's just the Clippers are going to clipper and they're just going to fizzle out. It's just I don't I don't see Paul George stepping up in big moments, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't see Kawhi leading a team to give them that spark. I know they said that Kawhi gave some rousing speech and got them to play better defensively, but game 4, again, what I saw was an injured Luka, not a better Clippers team. Like I don't know what anybody else is seeing, and by all means, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I watched the game. I did not see a better Clippers team. I saw them do the exact same thing they did in games 1 and 2, and I saw the Dallas Mavericks just not be able to ride Luka to the promised land.
No, not at all. I don't know. I think this is gonna make for an epic series, like over time. Like this is we seeing what round 2.
Yeah, this is the second time because keep in mind they the Mavericks almost knocked out the Clippers last year in the bubble. And again, it's the bubble,
Right,
but this is clearly showing that the bubble was not a fluke.
right.
So we'll see what comes out of Dallas and if they could get back around Luka here. If Luka can show up and not be absolutely hampered with the pain of whatever's going on in his neck right now.
Exactly, but and that's what I'm getting at. Well, if he's just a shell of himself, or he's just kind of a just half of what he is, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Unfortunate.
It just you don't have JJ Redick, and no one else is really stepping up right now, and you have a nice team, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It just we'll see. Based on I can't get past the home team is not won any games. So with that, let's just see what game 5 looks like, and so we'll just see how that goes. I'll leave it at that. But I think the Clippers is a tall order. I mean, I had them favored to win the series.
I will say, going into this series, you heard me.
Yeah.
Everybody else on Twitter should have heard me. I've been big on Dallas. I like Dallas's roster. It's unfortunate that JJ Redick is likely not going to play this series because they really would benefit from his shooting ability. But I still think even without JJ Redick, if you can get a 75% Luka in Game 5, they could still pull this out.
Right. And possibly, I just it's hard to. For me, it's hard for me to debate a 4-5 matchup. Like you can make the worst point ever, and I'm not going to necessarily.
But this is the thing about this 4-5 matchup: the Clippers are not a 4 seed. The Clippers deliberately lost the last 3 games of the season to get down to the 4 seed, so that they would avoid the Lakers.
Oh, that makes them a 4 seed.
No, that makes them an A seed.
No, they they're playing down to their talent. This is are these the what you're seeing or what I'm seeing is these teams are being exposed for what they are. You're seeing all where they look we get all the glitz and glamour through the regular season, and then the playoffs come, and then we get to see we get to hold a mirror up and let them see each other, see themselves. And you see these teams for what they are, and you see all the flaws and all where was all of that glitz and glamour nonsense y'all was talking about? Because when it gets down, and you know what, I'm not playing 4 different teams in 5 nights.
Yeah,
you playing one team, and for the next 3 days, it's just gonna be, what I'm saying. It changes, and then you just see what you see, and so I just this is part of one of this series should be a lot better than what it is. Unfortunately, injuries have just starting to kind of take.
It was one of the best series from games 1 through 3 were amazing. Game 4 was just bad.
Yeah. Oh, and and Mr. Pope is playing.
Yeah, KCP, which is fine. I mean, we'll see how Phoenix picks it up here. Hopefully, they get it put together here. But yeah, it is just the Clippers. I'm not enamored with what this team is. I think a lot of people are kind of tantalized by Kawhi. I'm not sold, and at this point, Pat Bev and Paul George, I'm out on. So, and Reggie Jackson did not step up and by any means to be that spark that they wanted. I know that was kind of Ty Lue's big move to try to adjust to whatever Dallas was throwing at them, but again, Luka's injury is what is a bigger thing than Ty Lue's adjustment. So we're gonna have to see what Luka's situation is with his neck to really make a determination on what this is. If he's, like I said, if he's 75% or more of what he was, then I'm taking Dallas still. I'm sticking with them to win the series and to hopefully he can just get healthier and healthier as each game passes. The same kind of way we're hoping for CP3 over here.
Right.
But that's just me. I think I'm the only person, one of the only people that are really big on Dallas right now.
I wasn't big. I think I was looking at Dallas the way I was looking at Miami going into the season. Like I could see them improved. I just didn't see them at the top. And of course, neither one of them was. They were just they're competitively just right there, right then and there. But yeah, as we were sitting here slightly
distracted
by this the Laker Phoenix game, but I'm seeing a lot of nonsense right now already.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap things up here. I think we've said what we have to say about all of these series. I want to hear from the fans. I want to hear from you guys what you think about this NBA playoff. What do you think about the West? I mean, definitely go back and listen to our East conversation and let us know what you think about that. Again, that also has about a 20-minute conversation on the state of the NBA in the first place.
And our question of the night was what again?
You should say it.
The question of the night that I had is: are super teams good or bad for the NBA? Yes or no? Comment. Please give us your take. I already went on the record saying I think it is completely and absolutely horrible for the NBA. At this stage, I think it has played. I think it's run its course, and
that's my take. I think it was what it was for about 4 years. At this point, it's old and tired.
Yeah, let's just get back to some competitive basketball. Get with your buddy. Stop trying to get up, with your crew, and trying to, recruit 7-8 guys with you. This is not the AAU. This is not a glorified pickup game. It's supposed to be competitive with damn basketball. Where's the parity? Let's bring parity back to the NBA, please.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening. Please, again, like, rate, subscribe, comment down below, and share the podcast with a friend. Again, we want to be a growing community of sports fans here, having open-ended conversations with the fans, not just Curtis 4 and Curtis 5 having a conversation here. We want you guys a part of it, too. We got Curtis 4 over here whispering, bring the smoke. All right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Again, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.